Okay, we're going to get started. It's 1 o'clock. Again, I'd like to welcome everybody to this webinar. This webinar is entitled Setting Up a Classroom with Onshape. It has to do with provisioning and setting up your entire class with our Onshape 3D CAD system. My name is Darren Henry. I'm the VP of Marketing here at Onshape, and with me is Cody Armstrong. Cody is the Technical Marketing Manager. And what we'll be doing is going through how to set up Onshape. We'll do a small demonstration, and we'll give you some best practices and recommendations in using Onshape in the classroom. If you notice, the GoToWebinar interface has the capability for you to ask us questions. So all you have to do is go to the question section and type in your question. And along the way, Cody and I will try to answer those. Large crowd today, so please ask your questions early, and we'll get going. So what I'd like to cover is actually a few things. The first one is, for many users, they don't know what Onshape is. So we want to briefly review what Onshape is. We want to discuss our different plans and how you sign up for education, and then go into the best practices of setting up your entire class. Once you have your class set up, you're going to be assigning different projects to your class. So you want to make sure you understand documents and sharing. And then we're going to talk about learning curriculum and additional resources. The intent of this webinar is not to teach you how to use Onshape. It's to teach you how to set up Onshape in a class environment. So that's important. We do have other resources to help you learn Onshape. But let's get started. And again, I want to remind everybody to type in questions as they go, and we'll try to answer those. The first thing I want to cover is, what is Onshape? So Onshape is a professional 3D CAD tool. And with 3D CAD, we mean you can create parts, assemblies, drawings. It also has data management built in. This is the same tool, even though there's free versions and many high schools are using Onshape. It's the same tool that many professional companies are using for professional manufacturing and design. We have complete file import and export. Many of the first questions we get asked is, can you 3D print from Onshape? And the answer, of course, is yes. And we can show you some of that today. What's unique about Onshape is it runs completely in a browser or on a mobile device. Today, we're using it on a Mac using a Google Chrome browser. It will run on Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Chromebook, iOS, and Android devices. So it's really ideal for a mixed hardware environment that many schools have, because you can run on almost any computer or mobile device. It requires no install, and you can set it up almost instantly. There's no IT support required. And what's also nice is, because we're a full cloud-based architecture, it's very similar to Google Docs, which I know a lot of classrooms have started adopting, and it's popular with many students. So you can simultaneously edit CAD data, and this is really nice for instructor-student interaction. It's nice for assigning projects to teams of students, and it's just nice for grading projects as well. Because the data is in the cloud, it also lends itself to home use, because once you set up your EDU account, your students and yourself, an instructor, can access that data from anywhere. So the idea is, use it in the classroom, in any lab, switch computers, it's okay. You can log in using your unique ID and always access your data, go home and complete projects or grade assignments from home. So it really lends itself nicely to an education environment. If you have any questions, type them in, but I'm going to the next slide, which is, what do you need to get started? Well, as I said, it runs in a computer browser, so you need a computer or an iOS or Android device. Now, this is the key. I didn't put browser here, but you need a WebGL browser. I think most people are using Google Chrome, Safari, or maybe Firefox. You do not want to use Internet Explorer. It does not support what we call WebGL, which is the 3D graphics. So you want to use something like a Google Chrome, Safari, Apple Safari, or Mozilla Firefox. You need an internet connection. People ask all the time, will it work if the internet goes down? The answer is that no, it will not work. This is a cloud-based application. So you do need a nice internet connection. The next question we get asked is, how fast does the internet connection need to be? I think you can do most student work with 5 megabits a second. Now, it may vary based off lag and those types of things, but 5 megabits per second is a nice frame of reference. You know, if you get at least speeds of 5 megabits a second, you want to try Onshape in your classroom environment. And you do need a valid email account, and that's not only for the instructor, but all students, and that's important as well. You need to activate your account with a valid email. We take security very seriously, so it needs to be tied to an individual account. When you log in, you're going to be asked for an email, or when you register, and that email will be your login moving forward. When we look at our plans, we have 3 plans that we have available. We have an education plan, which, as you can see, the price is free. We have a public plan, which is also free, and people confuse these two together. And we also have a professional plan. This is what commercial businesses use with Onshape. Now, if I had to draw some similarities between these 3 plans, I would say that the education and the professional plan are very similar. The public plan is crippled in some of its capability, and that has to do with the data type. And I need to explain that now because this is very important. There's the concept of public documents and private documents. So you have to remember that files don't reside on your local computer. They're actually in the cloud. And you can have a public document, and that means that everyone who uses Onshape in the Onshape ecosystem on the entire planet, and that's hundreds of thousands of people, they're able to actually view and copy your public documents. So a good example is if I'm building a birdhouse at home, a hobby, and I build a birdhouse, I don't mind if other people see it. They're not going to be able to edit my data, but they can view my birdhouse and copy my birdhouse and make a copy for themselves. Another type of document is called a private document. And a private document means that only you or the people you specify can actually see the data. So that is you can give people the ability to edit the data. You can give people the ability to view and copy, but you have that power. And that's a capability of both the EDU plan and the professional plan, but not a capability of our free public plan. We think that's important for EDU because if you want to assign graded work, assignments that will be graded, you want that student to be able to work in a private setting, maybe share with the instructor so they can help and grade that assignment, but you don't want the entire class to be able to view and copy each other's work. So that's one of the reasons why the EDU plan supports private data, and that's why you want to use it for an education environment. You can actually create public data as well in all plans, but the private data is something that's specific to the EDU and professional plans. Someone's asking, will the education plan always be free? So I will say that, it's important to us that the educational community embraces these new tools, and it's our mission to actually promote through the education. So we have no plans to ever change that educational plan. I don't want to make a universal statement to say it will be always free, but that's our intention. Can you design individual components and put them together and see them move? And the answer is yes. And let me show you that real quick. I have this document, and you can see here. Let me escape out of this and try to show you this. Sorry. Okay. I have so many browsers working here. Let's try to do this. And now I can't find my document. So the answer is yes, you can. Sorry, I got too many workspaces open on my Mac, but I can show you an example of that soon. Let me go back to presenter mode. Sorry. I tried to do something slick with Mac, but I just closed my window. And can school emails with .org extension work? We're going to cover that in a second. So let me go through how you qualify for an EDU plan. But I do want to say, people are asking, can you assemble components and see them move? And the answer is absolutely yes. It works great for SAE projects where you're building formula race cars. It works great for small classroom environments where you have a MakerBot and you're printing out 3D geometry in a classroom. It works great for FIRST robotics teams. And it's very popular within FIRST robotics teams. And you can do all the kinematic motion. We even have apps that plug in where you can do renderings and simulation and all sorts of things. It is a professional grade 3D CAD. It rivals most of the installed based 3D CAD out there in the marketplace. All right, let me move ahead, and hopefully you can still see my screen. The Onshape EDU plan is free for qualifying users, and it provides the ability to create public and private documents. That's important. I really want to stress that, because most of the people on this webinar have the free version and not the EDU version, and you want to make sure that you convert to the EDU version. I'm going to tell you how to do that. And that's what I'm saying in this slide. Important. If you're using the free or public account for EDU purposes, you should go to onshape.com/edu and sign up again using the same email, and we'll update your account, providing you qualify. And let's talk about how you qualify. This is how you qualify. You're a current, as an instructor, you're a current faculty member or volunteer at an accredited education institute. You agree that it's for classroom instruction, student learning projects, school and club organizations, and academic research. It's not meant for government grants that many universities get. It's not meant for commercial activities where you're designing a product to take to market. Maybe you're a student with an idea and you want to spin off and start a company and get some VC funding, or other organizational use. So it is meant for an accredited education institute. And then you have to accept our terms of use and our privacy policies. Most schools, this is not a problem. Most instruction in classroom, it's not a problem. We get into some gray areas when you get into like a maker space that's for profit. And the best thing to do there is actually contact us and talk to us about what your needs are. The idea is, if you're profiting from the institute or the education in a way, and it's not an accredited school, then it's a gray area and you need to talk to us. Now, do your students qualify? Well, this is a killer one that many people don't know, but due to the privacy laws, you need to at least be 13 years of age. We're asking for information, and as a company, we're actually communicating with the users. So you need to be at least 13 years of age. If a student is under 13 years of age, I would have the parents sign up if they want for them to experience 3D CAD. You again are agreeing to use it for classwork or personal learning projects, and you have to accept the terms and conditions. Is charging a fee for training also considered a commercial activity? Someone's asking that, and the answer is it may be. The best thing to do is contact us and let us know what you're thinking. If this is something like a private institute and not an accredited university or high school, this is something that you're probably in a gray area. You need to talk to us. All right. Let's continue along. Signing up is simple. You go to our website, and I just sort of cut and paste some of the forms. But basically, you're going to see that you're asked to give your first name, last name, email, your status, whether you're an educator or student, and then the grade level of the school. You'll hit Get Started, and then you'll give us more information. The school name, the school domain, the location, what your title is, your phone number. And then we ask you, how you plan to use it, and then it's up to you to accept the terms of service. And then we have a little recaptcha to make sure you're not a robot. So you need to go through these questions, answer those truthfully, and then once you submit, we'll actually send you an email to the email address that you specify. You don't have to use an EDU address, but we highly recommend it. Okay. You'll get an email. It'll say, welcome to Onshape. You activate that, and you'll be sent to a web page where you actually have to put in your password, and you type it in twice to match. So here I used an EDU Gmail account to show you this screen. So let's assume that you do that and it works. And I suggest everybody does that. I think most people on this call have set up an account. Maybe you haven't activated it, but I suggest you do. Now you want to set up your classroom. Well, the first thing I want to recommend is step one is to sign up as the instructor. Make sure you're familiar with the procedure. The second thing that I recommend is that you make a list of all students and their email addresses. So you have that as the master list. And then in the classroom environment, you actually have all the students create their accounts. They're going to go through the same process. They'll only pick student instead of educator. And you can do all this simultaneously. So they'll need to be able to check their email and fill out those forms. It's important that you don't use invite friends or the share buttons to create student or faculty accounts. You'll see in the software, and I'll show you this when we do the demo, there's a share button and a invite a friend button when you want to invite a friend to work on your model. Unfortunately, we are a commercial software company that is geared towards the commercial software. It does not automatically create an education account. So you want people to sign up for EDU purposes. And if your student or teachers have already signed up using the free account, the public account, right? And there's various ways to do that. Just have them go back to that onshape.com/edu and sign up again with the same email. So if once you accept those terms and conditions and validate that you're a student or instructor, we'll upgrade that account to the EDU account automatically. Okay, so we're getting a number of questions about do students and teachers need an EDU domain? They don't. We highly recommend it though. And how long does a student get access to the EDU subscription? So it's a great question. You get access for a year from your start date, but the following year, you'll get an email that says you're expired. And if you're still qualified, you just go ahead and re-register with the same address. Someone again is saying they don't have an EDU domain. We use .org or .net, and I understand that. If possible, use EDU. If not, you still are able to use the Gmails or .org, .net, whatever you'd like. It should work. Okay. We'll continue. And there is a way for you to see if you signed up for the EDU account, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, this is also important. If multiple users are sharing a computer in your classroom, and that happens quite often, I suggest using an incognito browser. And here's the reason. Again, we're a commercial company, and our mission is to sell commercial software to commercial companies. Our professional plan. And in that, we use a cookie technology. When multiple people are using the same computer over and over again, the cookie can get confused. So using an incognito browser for each sign-up will ensure a greater success. If you're not familiar how to do that, just right mouse click on your browser and you can start a new incognito window. Okay, it's easy. Just Google it if you haven't seen that. But you'll have a bit more success if you use incognito. Okay, and then the a final statement is, if you don't get the validation email, obviously check your spam folders and then just contact us. You can email us right from the website and we can look into it and find out what's wrong. Some people have a lot of security that prevents emails from coming through. Someone's asked, just confirming, is it okay to use with students in the UK? From our perspective, it is fine to use for students in the UK. You want to make sure that it's something that follows your school and area's regulations. Again, we're following. You have to be 13 years old, or that's a federal law in the United States, and to sign up for Onshape. Okay, let's jump in and do a demonstration. So let me try to do this again, and I apologize. I lost one of my windows, but we'll go ahead and sign in to an educational account. So if you go to our website, you can always just click the sign in button, or you can go to cad.onshape.com /sign in. And once you get your account, I recommend you bookmark that as a favorite. So let me, I'm going to log out so you can see this from scratch. The first time you come to the cad.onshape.com, you'll be prompted to log in. And, you know, if you use Google, it will remember your logins. I have an EDU login that I like here. And you'll log in, and just like that, and I'm over a home network here, I'm into my CAD system. This is my CAD system. I have 3 projects that you can see. Someone asked, how do I know if I'm in the educational version of the software or the subscription? It actually tells you right on the homepage, right here. And if I go in a document, you know, you'll see that I have a full 3D model and everything. You can see I'm also have an educational icon on the document. Now, this could be any document that was created in education mode, but you know, I have a full 3D CAD model here. You know, if you haven't used the CAD system, there is a learning curve, but we have a lot of resources. I'm going to cover that in a second on how to learn this. But we're just going to do a little project, and I'm going back out. We're going to start a new project, and we're going to talk a little bit about the interface and how we do things differently than, say, traditional CAD. The first one is, you know, think of Google Docs instead of Microsoft Word. We don't have files. Our information, our data lives in the cloud in actually a database. So the first thing I'll do is create a new document. You have to think of a document as a project level container for your CAD data. And we're going to call this new. This is going to be a private document. So only I can look at this document now, but I can specify other people to participate. And this is a 3D environment. I'm going to sketch on a plane. We'll look normal to that plane. There's hotkeys available. We'll just go ahead and sketch out a rectangle. If you're not familiar with 3D CAD, you know, again, I apologize. We're not here to teach you 3D CAD in this webinar. But basically, I'll say most CAD models start with a shape. You can add dimensions to that shape to actually size it. In this case, maybe I'd like it to be 10 inches, and I apologize to our European attendees that I'm using inches. You can add, you know, other dimensions. Maybe I want this 2 inches, and I'll throw in a dimension here as well. We'll make that 5 inches. Okay, I'll hide the planes in the background so you can see what I'm doing. And now I'll turn this into a solid model. So I'm going to go ahead and extrude it with the extrude command. And I'll do one other thing. I'll extrude out another little tail here. We're going to extrude this 2 shapes that were part of our sketch and make this a little bigger. Okay, so there's a 3D model. Now, the first thing everybody asks is, where's the save button? You don't have to save it on Onshape. It remembers everything for you. There's no save, much like Google Docs. The second thing people ask is, well, how do I export that to my great 3D printer that my classroom has? You simply right mouse click on the part or the tab and you hit export, and 3D printers use STL. So this will actually write an STL file and actually export it right to my computer here. So you can see it's downloaded on the Mac that I'm on. Okay, works on Chrome, works on Linux, works on Windows. But here's where it gets interesting. Much like Google Docs, I can share. So I want to go ahead and share. And you can see I can share with individuals. So I can share with Cody, who's on the call with us. And I have the ability to give Cody permission. So let's say Cody's a student. I don't want him to be able to invite other people, other students in. So I can untoggle share. Maybe I don't want him to be able to copy this because it's a final exam. So I can untoggle copy. So I have all these granular permissions. I'm going to hit share, and Cody's allowed to jump in the document with me. He can access it. If I'm not in the document, Cody can still access it. I'm giving him privilege to enter my private document. Okay? And there Cody is. How do I know Cody's in? Cody's in right here. He's joined the document. I can actually see the tab he's in. And Cody's creating a new feature. He's actually going to add something to the model. So I'm not moving my mouse at all, and we can see that Cody's able to simultaneously work with me. See what he's doing. Okay, so he added a sketch, and now he just added a foot to this assembly. So imagine this. your students are working on a first robotics project, or they're working on a 3D, a simple 3D project. Maybe they're developing a product for a business class. Cody changed the color. They can actually work together on this, which is really nice. Okay, so that's sharing with one person, Cody. The other thing I can do is up here is my account, Darren EDU. I can go into that and look at sort of an admin console, and I'm able to create a team. So I'm going to create a team, and the team is going to be called class, the entire classroom. So we'll create a team, and we'll add a team member. So I want Cody to be on my team. C. Armstrong at onshape.com, and we can call him Cody. So we'll add him as a member. And I'd like to add somebody else to my team. I'll add another email that I have for myself. We'll add him. It says Andrew. It's my middle name. And you can see I can build up a roster of people and make a group. And when I'm done, I go back to Onshape, and we'll go back to this document that I had. Remember, there's no save, so it remembered everything, what me and Cody did. And I can hit the share button, and now I have individual and team. So if I wanted to share with the entire class, I have the same capability, and I hit share, and now I'm sharing with the entire class. Later, if the assignment is done and I want to unshare with my class, I can hit the X button and unshare. I can even unshare with Cody. Okay? So it's important that you understand how to share. You'll need the list of students that are in your class. But one thing that I advise is that you create a team for your entire classroom, or project groups. Like you might have teams within your classroom. So you might want to create that team A, team B, team C, or in other instructors. Maybe you're sharing with instructors, but you have the ability, think of them as email groups that make it very convenient for you to share. Okay, someone said, I assume I can comma separate a list to create a team of 20 students. I don't think you can right now. So we understand this. We want to come up with nice tools to help set up a classroom. You just have to understand our priorities, our design priorities.
Real quick, I think you can.
You can?
Yeah, I know you can with share. I haven't personally tried it with adding team members. So
okay, so Cody says we can do it here, where you're typing Cody, comma, Andrew. I don't know, Darren. There it is, actually. Andrew. So we can do it here. I'm not sure you can do it with team. You'll have to check. I, for some reason, don't think you can. Someone's also asking, I still have some designs in a non-EDU account. Does it matter? So, okay, so this is a good topic. If you are using a non-EDU account, if you follow my instructions, so it says go to the EDU page, register for the EDU subscription with the same email, that account will be updated to an EDU account. Now, there's one caveat, and the one caveat is all the documents that are created or touch an EDU account will get this little symbol. And unfortunately, that means that it was created with our EDU account, subject to those terms and conditions, and there's no way to get rid of that EDU. So if you are a teacher or instructor that has some private data or some personal projects as well as EDU projects, you may want to keep two separate accounts. But chances are, if you have the free account, either your data is private or it's EDU. So it probably won't matter. But we do have some people that are professional users and EDU users. So they have two accounts, one for professional work, one for EDU work. Okay. All right. A lot of good questions here. I think we're okay. So if you're, again, just to be clear, if you're on the free account, you have some models in the free account, which are public. you upgrade to the education account, all those models will come across. You'll still have access to them. And then if you open them, they'll be marked with EDU. All right, let's keep going because we have a lot to cover. One other thing that I want to show you is tabs. So this is sort of interesting as well. Let's say that I have these tabs down here. You see I have a Part Studio Assembly. I can create new tabs hitting this little plus. I can create drawings. I can create another Part Studio here. And I can name these Part Studios differently. So I'm going to rename this one Darren. And I'm going to rename this one Cody. Rename Cody. So it is possible that you could have one document for a group of students and each student gets their own tab and they work together. It is possible. However, I would recommend that for maybe a small project where multiple students are working together on something. I would not recommend that for graded assignments. So one thing I want to just point out right now is tabs, and we'll get into best work practices in a second. The second thing I wanted to show you, which is really nice for instructors, is to understand our history. So one thing that's really nice is because we're a database in the cloud, you can see how everything was created. This one was created by Darren EDU at 123. This feature here, the sketch, was changed by Cody. So as your students work, you can actually see every step they've done, and you can revert back to those steps. If we'd like to see, what does the model look like at this point with Cody, we can view it and see how they built things in time. So you can see that's what the model looked like. This is important. Maybe it's a graded assignment and you're wondering, did they do all the work? Well, if they copied, you would actually see a cut and paste or some type of copy command. If they just rebuilt someone else's work, you might see the timestamps very quick. And if they did a step-by-step, you can see where they struggled and where they had issues. So it is really nice in a teaching environment to help somebody come along by looking at the history. You can tell where models went wrong very quickly. We'll return to the main. It's very easy to return back to the main. Okay, there's also a lot of advanced topics on version control. We're not going to cover that here. For most classroom environments, I don't think we're ready for that, at least when you're setting up a basic classroom. Let's go back to our PowerPoint and make sure I covered everything I wanted to in that demonstration. So we covered what a document is. That's a project level container. We did cover tabs. That's where your Part Studio and your assembly information as well as drawings will be stored. You can also build the same part in different tabs if you want. Sharing, we talked about in teams. Obviously, you're building those groups of individuals. And then the history allows you to audit and see exactly what happened in the document, which is nice. So this is another recommendation. Onshape will slow when excessive users are simultaneously in the document. You saw Cody and I in the same document at the same time editing the same thing, and that works great. But let's say I have a class of 30 people. I don't want all 30 in the same document. So I'm advising you not to do that. I recommend keeping simultaneous usage below 6. Now, that's not to say you can't have 30 people invited. I just wouldn't have 30 people in the same document at the same time. I would try to keep it as 6, and I think that's a good rule of thumb. So what do you want to do to set up the classroom? We talked about. You sign up the instructor. You can sign up the class. If possible, sign them up together. Maybe you have a computer lab, and that will get everybody done, and you just do it as one task. Put the instructions on the board. And then I recommend the instructor goes ahead and builds that team for any class or subgroups, and that will make sharing much easier. Let's see. Someone's asking, are there videos? Did you ever think of doing videos on how to use Onshape for beginners? And the answer is yes. And I'm going to go through what you can do for learning resources soon. Okay, let's talk about assignment strategies. And these are recommendations. There's a lot of different ways to skin these cats. But let's say we have a workshop where you want multiple students to work together. What I would recommend is an instructor shares a master document with copy permissions to it in class. So you make a document. Maybe you're going to build something. Maybe it's a little keychain that you're going to print on a 3D printer in the classroom environment. The instructor will share a master document with copy permissions to the class, not edit permissions, but copy permissions. Then the student or group leaders, maybe it's a small group, you want people to break into group of 4, but the student or group leaders copy the documents and they can share the document back with the instructor or with their team. Okay? And then the instructor walks through the lesson. Everybody would have an individual document at the same starting point. They're shared back with the instructor so the instructor can jump in the different people's documents and see what they're doing if they want. Maybe makes it easier for grading if it's a graded assignment, but you can check on progress. And you're keeping the simultaneous usage down. So everybody has the same starting point. For graded assignments, so that one, let me just be clear. That one is the instructor shares with the students. The students create their own copy. The students own their copies. And then they can choose to share back with the instructor or share with other students. On graded assignments, I recommend the instructor makes individual copies of the document and shares with each student or group. So if you have a class of 12 people and you want them to build a project that's specified, maybe it's complete, a linkage in a motor or something like that, you go ahead and make individual copies of that and share with each individual student. Then you're always in control of the document. You can see what each student's doing, and the student does not have permission to copy or share with any other people. And then at the end, when it's due, you can actually unshare with the user, much like I unshare with Cody, and grade their work. So it's very quick. Any questions on that? Okay, let's dive into how to learn 3D CAD. So we understand that, there's a lot of different, you have students in different at different levels of expertise. You're trying to do different things. Some of you might be trying to do a small project in 2 weeks. Some of you might have a full classroom dedicated to CAD for a semester. So we put together a lot of information. We have Onshape tutorials. We have the Onshape Learning Center. I'm going to walk you through all this in a second. Onshape Video Library. We have the Onshape blog, the Onshape forum, YouTube, and there are even some independent books that are available. You can go to Amazon.com. So let's walk through some of these. Let me jump around and show you some of them. So the first one I want to do, I'm going to go to the Onshape website, and this is important. And if you go to Learn, there's a couple different things I want to point out. The first one is one person asked me, do you have anything for people who aren't familiar with 3D CAD? Well, we have an Intro to CAD course right from the website in our Learning Center where you can go through software overview, parametric modeling, the basics of design intent. Okay? It assumes you have some design experience, but it really walks you through the basics of 3D CAD. So again, let me go back and show you where that is. It's called the Intro to CAD. So go to our Learning Center on Onshape.com and go to Intro to CAD. Okay? When you're in Onshape, we have tutorials. So if you go back to Onshape, you can see we have tutorials and samples. If you click that, we have a number of tutorials. There's the Onshape tour. Let me go back to a list here and do it like this. We have tutorial 1, which is walks you through the interface. Tutorial 2 helps you build a part. Tutorial 3, they're not listed in order, make an assembly, create a drawing, and then import and export. These are video tutorials, very easy to follow. In fact, Cody, who's on the line, made most of them to get, for you. Extremely popular and extremely easy to follow. Okay, going back out to Onshape.com on the Learning Center, we have under Learn, we have Get Training. Right now we have 3 courses, but 2 are actually for annual pro subscriptions. But the one that I think is important for you guys is our free Quick Start. And it goes through a number of documents, part studios, multi-part design, assembly, drawings, and it even covers CAD on mobile devices. Another great resource, going back to Onshape.com. Again, Going to the Learning Center, you have our video library. So here, you can type in almost anything and actually search. So let's say you're looking for sheet metal and you want to make some sheet metal. There's a video on sheet metal essentials. Let's say there's a video on threads. You want to create a thread. There's 2 videos. Let's build a thread in 60 seconds. And there was one on let's make a nut, done by one of our college interns. There's tremendous amount of videos. There's hundreds of them. If you don't want to go to onshape.com, you can go to our YouTube channel as well. Actually, I won't even go there, but go to our YouTube channel. We have all the videos on the YouTube channel as well. There's webinars. Every week we have multiple webinars and we do a lot of recording. So here's Exploded Views in Onshape, Mastering 3D Modeling, Office Hours with the Professor. This is just tech tips. Customizing CAD for industrial components, right? These are all different webinars that are coming up. Here's the one that we're in today. These are free. You can go to two to 3 a week. We always do new webinars every week. And the recordings are available as well if you can't make the actual date. In our blog, there's great technical resources. So every 3 weeks, we update the capabilities, and Cody actually documents all these capabilities in little videos. So you can watch the videos on all new capabilities. That's all free. And finally, we have a forum, which is very good as well. Let me go back to onshape.com. At the bottom of the page, you can go to our forums. Our forums is our user community, and it's very easy. If you have a question, just put it out there. Our own employees, as well as just an active group of people, will answer questions. In fact, I think most questions are answered within an hour. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type those in to the forum and you can get help. Okay, so that's all the capabilities. Someone's asking, will there be access to all the Learning Center? So Walt, we're thinking about that right now. We're weighing it. We want to provide more training materials, and we want to provide different levels of training, but we haven't figured out our exact strategy yet. Someone's asking, there's a second teacher that could not get to this webinar. How can you get a video of it? So when I think in a day or so, you'll actually receive a link to the recording, and anybody who registered for this webinar that didn't attend will get a recording as well. Otherwise, we'll probably post it on the YouTube channel, and you can actually click and watch it there. All right, so let me jump ahead, and then I'll go to the questions, and we can spend the rest of the time answering questions. So that was all the different learning resources, quite a bit there, right? And then we also have free curriculum. So you might want workshops to teach. Now, we spent most of our efforts on college level classes. So it's a 12-week curriculum, but I want to walk you through it because you can take pieces of it and actually use it for school. Now, I will say this, these aren't super, they're not novel projects like keychains and little clips and widgets. They're more serious modeling examples. You do a Bluetooth speaker and you do a blender, an actual food processor. But we have free curriculum. So if you go to our go to our EDU, and you can go right student and educator right here. You can see introducing Onshape's turnkey college curriculum. And if you click learn more, you'll actually have to register to get it, but I recommend everybody does that. And what that will do is it'll take you to a Google Drive where you can see the different curriculum. So here it is, and you can see it's 12 weeks. These are done with Google Docs. We did that on purpose so you can quickly make copies and edit it to suit your needs. But you can see that if we go to one of these, not only they're very comprehensive. We spent a lot of time on this, and it's walking you through the different capabilities. This is chapter 1 that just walks you through the interface. And it also has lessons and exercises and small quizzes that you can use to quiz your class. It is college level, but it is something that any person who is mechanically inclined will embrace very quickly. My 13-year-old son has gone through some of these chapters. All right. And then finally, I have one more slide, I believe, and we'll go right to the questions. Actually, two more slides. So additional resources. We do have an Onshape EDU Twitter channel, so you can subscribe and follow us on Twitter. I've mentioned the weekly webinars, and the forums is a great example. The other thing I just wanted to point out is if you go to Thingiverse, so Thingiverse is owned by Stratasys and the owners of MakerBot. And if you search Thingiverse for Onshape, there's a ton of great projects, and these are all Onshape projects. And everything from Christmas tree to little carabiner clips. There's a lot of neat little tools here, and most of the ones when you click in Onshape, you can access the public document for the Onshape. So maybe you want to do a fidget spinner or those types of things. There's really nice projects that you can actually see from Thingiverse. Maybe great for the K-12 crowd. What if my EDU subscription expires? It will expire after 1 year. Just go back. If you still qualify, you're a student or a teacher at an accredited academic institute. Go ahead back to onshape.com/edu and re-register with the same email, and all your documents will still be there for you, and you'll be able to access it again for another year. Okay. That is my last slide, and we're going back to the questions. Cody, did you see any questions that you feel that were asked numerous times that we should address first?
Well, one that was brought up is brought up in a few different ways is, what happens with those that are under 13? What is that? Does the parent have to sign up for them? Can they get permission? Can the instructor get permission, or does the parent need to sign them up?
Yeah, I think what needs to happen there is if it's a situation where someone under 13 needs access, it needs to be an adult that signs up for Onshape, and it should be under adult supervision. The real reason is it's collecting data of a 13-year-old. We're asking first name, last name, email, and we're going to send marketing communications and those types of things, event communications to that person. So again, you have to be older than 13 to use Onshape. I would suggest it be the adult that signs up, and the student, can participate with the adult alongside the adult.
One other question that was asked is, how do I prevent students from sharing the assignment amongst each other, just in case there are students who know a lot and so on? So basically prevent cheating in that regard.
Right. So what you want to do in that situation is you want to, in Onshape, let's say you want to create a new document. So we'll do that. It's going to be a private document. And so as an instructor, you'll want to own the document. You want to be the person that creates the original document. You share with the student. In this case, my student's going to be named Cody. And you turn off the ability to edit or export, maybe even share. Maybe you want them to be able to comment, but you want them, it's this button prevents that person, Cody, will not be able to share with other people. This button prevents him from copying and creating a copy of the document, which he could then share. So this would be the way I'd set it up. Maybe if he wants to 3D print, you can hit export and you hit share. And now Cody only has the ability to edit, export, and comment. In some cases, you may want to give Cody just the ability to view a document. You can do that as well. So you can see you have a lot of different granular permissions. And likewise, you can encourage parents to sign up for a free account. They won't qualify for the EDU, but you can actually share with them to view and see their students, their child's progress as well. So it's pretty exciting how it can proliferate. Maybe you want to share the document within the entire world. You can make a document public at any time as well. So you have that permission. lock it down, or make it wide open. It's your call. Let's see if there's any other questions. I've made a document for each younger kid in my classroom under my account with great results. Okay, so I think that's key, that if you're doing that, then you're the person registering for Onshape. Someone's asking, what is our connection with SimScale? It's a great question. So SimScale, and you might have seen SimScale added curriculum into the college curriculum that we have. So we have what we call the App Store, where you can do a lot of additional things with the 3D models created in Onshape. So a good example is you can simulate them. SimScale provides FEA analysis, so you can stress test or see how heat will transfer through a part, see how it moves, or actually do flow. There's simulation for analyzing the parts. There's rendering for creating pretty pictures, photorealistic pictures. There's CAM that allow you to actually machine the parts. There's content where you can download screws, nuts, bolts, fasteners, even supplier content like gearboxes. There's also just utility and productivity tools. So SimScale is one of our partners. There's about 50 partners in our App Store ecosystem. Someone's asking, can you show us how to access the curriculum when you're already logged in? So there's a couple of curriculum things. So the first one I want to show is if we go back to onshape.com, or I'm sorry, the main screen, just hit the Onshape logo. You can go to tutorials and samples right within the product. Or if you want the college curriculum, you have to go to our website and you click this turnkey college curriculum button on the EDU website, and then you register, and that will give you a link to the Google Drive that has all the different college curriculum. Is it available for non-EDU people? Yeah, it is. It is. Just go ahead and register. If you're a non-EDU, then you shouldn't be using the EDU subscription of Onshape, but the curriculum is free. You can use that. Someone's asking, do we have Onshape certification? It's on our roadmap right now in our Learning Center. On the 2 classes that you don't have access to unless you're a pro user, there is a certificate of completion, and we do want to expand our capabilities to have a true certification. That's in the works. Do I think 13-year-olds can do the college curriculum? I do. I don't think it's now. I will say this. You might have better luck if you're creating keychains or something like a 3D printed fidget spinner with a 13-year-old. But I do think the college curriculum can be utilized by someone in their early teens without a problem. Okay, I think we've answered most questions. Oh, there's a couple more coming in. First Robotics is considered EDU, correct? Yes, it is. First Robotics is considered EDU. We have a partnership with First Robotics. You can actually search the public documents for First Robotic models. So if you are doing a First Robotics challenge, this is a great tool to use. And then someone's asking, where do we get ideas for more curriculum? I did like Thingiverse. I think you can search, easily search for neat 3D printing ideas. And I saw something where somebody made a bike accessories. So, something that screws into a water bottle holder on a bike, maybe to hold a tennis ball or a golf ball or even a football. I think there's all sorts of really neat design projects you can do in the K-12 environment where you just ask somebody, we're going to make a bike attachment. You ask the class what they want to build, and then they measure a bike and they put it together. There's a number of simple things on Thingiverse, things from little creatures, little clips, spring-loaded clips, and things that I think would be great ideas for a curriculum. Okay, how about if we do two more questions and then we'll call it an end. Um, Again, with sharing, someone's asking if you want to create a template and then have the students be able to edit that template. Do they need to create explicit copies, or is there a simple way to send individual copies? Yeah, right now, unfortunately, you need to create explicit copies if you want to maintain ownership of that document and your students are working within your document. You'll have to create those copies yourself. You right mouse click on the document and you can create a copy. We do understand it'd be nice to send copy. We don't have that capability yet. Okay, so someone's also asking, they've created a number of instructional videos uh, that's appropriate through middle school, through community college. So if you have those types of collateral that you'd like to share in the community, I think the best way to do that's in our forum. And really, our forum is where a lot of our users, thousands of users, are talking, and it's easy to set up a channel, maybe an EDU channel. The second thing to do is, I think utilize the social media. It's not something we'll post on our website, but it is something that we'll announce and help you promote through our social media channels. So if you have that curriculum, the first thing I do is probably post it on the forum, and that's how to get our attention. All right, so that's it. A lot of great questions. If I'll end with my email. There it is, Cody, and my email. And if you have additional questions, you can reach out to us. We appreciate it. We think education is very important. We hope that this webinar helps you set up the classroom and will get your students started with 3D design. Thanks for spending the afternoon with us, and we wish you luck. Take care.